Well, hello, hello. Hello, friends. We're going to have a super busy morning today. And as you can see, I am driving solo. So if everything goes to shit, then it's all me. It's all on me. That means that I can't be trusted with streaming ever again. So first question I have to ask are the people that are watching us right now. Can you hear us? Can everybody say hi so they can hear us? Chris is gonna prove that we don't need JP anymore. Well, let's not tell him. Okay, we can. They can hear me. At least they can hear me. Uh, I'm not going to go to news because we have a super packed day today, and I'm gonna start with our friends from the Graph team. We got Sebastian and Brian again. These guys love us so much that they came back for more, and I couldn't be more excited. And then after our Graph announcements and the Graph news, we have Julie Lerman. We're very fortunate to have Julie here to work on entity framework and identity. I mean, what else could it be, right? So let's roll the Graph news. How are you today, Brian and Sebastian? Thanks for coming back. I don't have any QR codes or Comic Sans today, so yeah, I know. We missed. Yes. We missed such an opportunity. You know, we can be so mischievous today with JP not being around to complain. Oh, they can't hear Sebastian. Oh no, why? Why? Can't hear the guests. Okay, so I screwed somewhere. This is all me. See, I told you they can't hear the guests. So. Blind, deafen, solo guess. I'm just looking at the settings we have here. Can you guys hear Julie? Can you hear Julie? No,
Hello. Testing. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Yes.
Yes, I see a yes.
So I need to see.
Usually I'm the one who's like, wait, why isn't my mic working?
Oh, you know what? I think it's. I know what it is. So give me a second. I will fix it. Yes, control audio via OBS. In the meantime.
Right, exactly. What's our entertainment in the meantime? Tell a
So
dirty joke?
Seb, tell us a dirty joke.
I think I fixed it.
Yeah.
Where'd Sebastian go now? Okay,
Oh, it works now.
it works.
Thanks. I don't know. Let's see.
Let us know if you can
Yes, everybody can hear us. Good.
hear. All
Awesome.
right.
Man, you know what?
That's
I'm so
great.
sweaty right now. Ah,
Wait, what?
the pressure of managing the stream. I'm telling you. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
We're good. So let's do the introduction again. How are you today, friends?
Amazing.
We're doing good now, apparently.
And you know
Better
what? You know what? We started at the right time. Usually with JP, we have to wait for 5 minutes as he gets ready. So it's we're ahead of time. I'm telling you, we're good.
That's perfect. That's
Yes.
good. We have plenty of time.
Plenty of time.
To talk about stuff. Thanks
Yes.
for having us again.
Thank you for being here. Without
still-
QR codes and Comic Sans.
I still have my mug.
Wow.
Yes. Don't
Julie,
worry.
do you have your mug? Do
We'll
you have
hook you
your
up.
mug, Julie?
Where's my swag? I didn't get one, Seb.
I don't know.
But this is a beautiful mug from a local potter, though.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's better actually.
We can get Hannah from our team to make handmade mugs if you want to. Fortify handmade mugs. Brian, if we haven't sent you one, then that's a massive oversight. I will rectify this, and Julie will hook you up, obviously, because everyone that comes to the show gets mugs or water bottles or t-shirts. So
You should have said it's in the mail. It's in the mail.
it's lost. USPS is not reliable these days.
It took too long. I don't know what's going on here.
Okay. Let's kick it. So we had Ignite last week, and I
Yes.
know that you guys were super busy with Ignite. A lot of announcements came out,
Yep.
so
Yep.
I suspect that we're going to be talking about that. And
Yeah,
other-
exactly. There was a couple of cool announcements, especially on the I would say the IT Pro side of the house. Ignite is more like an IT Pro end user conference. And there was some connections to Microsoft Graph that happened. So it's not where we have our big moment in the year. Build is really where Microsoft Graph gets like all the big announcements. But through some of the announcements, there was some really cool capabilities that were shipped last week. The first one being that we GA'd our Universal Print Cloud Printing API. So basically now you can get rid of all your old Windows servers somewhere under your desk that are just living there because they are print servers. And you can just put all of that in the Universal Print service in Azure. And all of this is all configurable through Graph API.
Nice.
So you can really, yeah, that's really cool. And we GA'd that for Ignite this year. So I think that's something if you want to modernize the way that you're building your organization, especially now where, well, even if we have a printer and a server, probably you're not in the office to benefit from that.
Print to my home server, to my home printer, right?
Exactly. So now you could maybe extend your work printing servers with your own local one. So that's definitely something that was cool that was announced last week. So that's the first thing that I wanted to touch on. The second one is we with the identity team did something absolutely amazing for conditional access. That's one of the capability that exists right now already in Azure AD, but now we're adding granular conditional access, which we call conditional access authentication context. And the beauty of this is, even though it seems to be a very IT pro focused area where you can say this area is more secure than this other area, and then you might need to authenticate through an MFA to get to this specific area and not the other ones. Well, all of this is supported by Graph today. And that is where it's really, really, really cool. So it means that you can say, for example, in this sample, in the blog post, think about how on a SharePoint site or any other 365 or M365 endpoint, you can have very boring content or really non-secure content like the launch menu, but you can also have all your super confidential content in the same product, in that case SharePoint. So now you can literally access through Microsoft Graph something that is highly secure, and because you're authenticated just using your username and password, you could benefit from an extra hop, so an extra authentication to really validate that you're the right person, that you are claiming who you are, and then automatically working with the conditional access policies that exist in Azure AD. So this is now part of Graph today, especially on the SharePoint endpoints, but we're going to roll it out through all the rest of the Microsoft Graph. So that was a huge demand from partners, and we've been working with partners a lot lately.
I have to say, I love that diagram went from tacos to diamonds. Like that's an awesome spectrum to start and end with.
Definitely agree. I love tacos, so that for me that's kind of the most important part of the content, but that's another story. So we worked with a bunch of partners to make that happen. So that was really, really, really cool. So that's our second, I would say, big news that we had around Ignite. Something that went also just followed Ignite has been a huge requested feature that just landed in our Microsoft Graph Toolkit. A couple of shows ago, I came in and I showcased how easy the Graph Toolkit was. Graph Toolkit, which is our components for like basically graph-powered web components. It's a library, it's a web library that we have. Now we have added a full Electron capability.
Nice. Desktop apps.
Yes. Desktop apps. And to be very honest, it's absolutely amazing. Like, it's simple, powerful, and it just like it takes literally 10 minutes and you have an Electron app that runs on your desktop that is authenticated and that showcases content from your from Graph, which is absolutely amazing. So this morning it was like, let's try to see if I can still code a little bit. And I
take off the PM hat, put on the developer gloves, and start flexing. Code.
Exactly. So I tried, and I think I succeeded, which is great because I Let's see how this goes.
Walton's saying talk is cheap. Show me the code.
And no, I know. Okay, let's go. Let's go into code. So I have here simple. So we're using the TypeScript starter kit for Electron. Where in my renderer, the only thing I'm doing, I'm just importing my MGT stuff.
Right. Your toolkit.
Where I'm importing my Electron provider, which will basically take care of all the authentication and popping up the windows and all these kind of things.
Nice.
And that's it. That's the only Electron specific code that I need.
Wow.
Then afterwards, the only thing I'm going to do here, I'm just going to do like I'm doing all the time. I'm going to specify, hey, I want to have this client ID attached to this window. So basically my Electron window, here are the scopes that I want to get my content from. And that's it. The rest is you just put the right HTML. That's the beauty of Electron. I could just write everything in HTML. And I add my web components like I would with any other MGT app on the web. And now that I have it running here, I'm just going to click my sign in button. Actually here, that's really cool. And I did not implement it, but there's an MSAL
node
module that even supports a persistence layer. So if you want to log once and then afterwards store your credentials and token on your machine, that's possible. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Just didn't get to it because I wanted to keep it under like 10 minutes of code. I cannot do more than that. So click sign in. You get the authentication right here. I log in with my user. Let me get that super secret password somewhere here. I'm gonna put it in there. I'm gonna hit sign in, and now my app is right there. And now everything just works and everything. So that's like literally I think you cannot get simpler than that for a Windows app, to be very honest. And it works with all the different pieces. So here you have like all the bits and pieces of the graph toolkit, the cards, and everything. So if you want to bring some of these components inside your Electron apps and you already have one, well, it's up to you to do it because now you can. And Electron is super easy. So literally like 15 lines of code, and now you have a graph connected Electron app.
So what you're saying is that if you're building desktop apps, you go with Electron? We have this eternal debate about what's the right framework.
This is one option.
It is one option. That's one option that I like because I'm coming from a web side of the house. So for me, it's easier.
Nice and cozy, and you feel safe.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I have 64 gigs of RAM on my machine, so I can support Electron apps.
I know this sounds silly, but when I switch from my desktop to my laptop, I feel the pain of everybody else. So I think having 64 gig of RAM gets you super spoiled because you don't feel the pain. But
yeah,
right,
exactly.
you hear the fan kick on your laptop, and the room gets a couple degrees hotter.
I'm worried about the summer now. I need a few fans.
Yeah, AC's already on.
No. It's nice. It's cross-platform. Gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of just getting some kind of prototype out there. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think Visual Studio Code is such a champion of
Electron.
An example.
Yeah.
Of why Electron is great.
Well, coming from you, Julie, I would have expected you to come with Azure Data Studio, not Electron.
The Azure Data Studio grew out of that. Yes. Well,
yes.
they're both right.
Yeah.
I think more people are familiar with VS Code, though.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Just a tad.
So I'd say from a news that is what I wanted to showcase quickly. The last thing, though, from a tools, so you know how we're using the Graph Explorer as the way to explore graph. You know what I did there. So Graph Explorer has added a really, really tiny capability. It's almost hidden. You almost don't see it, but it's really cool. So let me reload that thing here. And I think that's an amazing way to start leveraging graph and understanding how it works. So that's how I go on the Graph Explorer and I want to query my messages that exist in my inbox.
Yes.
I do that every day. I do messages, I hit run query, and here I'm going to find all the
So,
the
so
entire.
Sebastian doesn't use Outlook. He just goes straight to Graph Explorer.
Yeah.
That's how he reads his email.
That's exactly how I do it.
And you use links. You use links to browse the internet too.
Yeah.
Yes,
Straight
exactly.
text.
I send my email via post on the send mail action
Exactly.
graph.
That's how you do your
and,
responses. Perfect.
Yeah, exactly. That's also how I change my presence on Teams and everything. I set my out of office. All these kind of things are happening through Microsoft Graphics.
Sebastian cares. Everything is handcrafted to the last bit.
Exactly.
There you
Exactly.
go.
But
Uh-huh.
before here, it was like, oh my God, it's really kind of complicated to understand how to get paging in Graph sometimes. That it's complicated, but you need to find the right thing. You needed to come here and copy that guy and then go. Oh, but now look at this. The response contains the next link, so I can just click on this, and it automatically pops it up and automatically runs its query. So I can do that.
What about link to graph? Is that a thing?
That's a good. Do we have a link provider, Brian? That's a good question. We have the SDK.
So many people know how to query with link.
I mean, you could do link to objects, but I don't know that we have a specific graph provider. So
Yet.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's go talk to Daryl and Rowena and Maisa and get them started on that right away.
There you go.
Amazing.
New feature
Welcome,
requests
everybody.
live on the stream.
No,
There we go.
Request. That was like a spec right there.
True.
And
There you
we
go.
need link for, but that's a really good. Actually a really good comment here. So with this small bit is for me saving a lot of my time. Just when I try to fiddle around the Graph Explorer to find data, now I don't have to copy paste stuff around and everything. All is integrated and it's connected to my real data. It's just like a studio, like a random studio. It's really my data. So not exactly my data.
So now we've got the next question is how do I go back? Coming from the chat room. I can page forward, but can I go backwards?
I don't think there's a notion of get the previous page in Graph. Actually, there's
not really, because we have next links, but we don't have like a give me the previous. The only thing we could do is take a look at your history of like what did you previously issue as a request, and then fire that request. But that would be like
It's not a cache, right? It's just reading data. So it's
no, we
forward.
issue a query and we give you the results. So we'd have to know like what was the previous thing that you just ran before the current one. In
the Graph Explorer, in Graph Explorer, there's always that history. So
there you go.
You can actually go back to it.
There's our cheat bolt. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly. That's a cheat. So that's a really cool small tool that was introduced this week.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share with all of you on that.
But if you are using the SDKs, then please be aware that this is built into the SDKs. You don't have to manually do that, right?
Absolutely. You're going to get your automatic paging through the SDK. You don't have to query it. But as the Graph Explorer is really built on the endpoints, we wanted to give you an option to kind of navigate these endpoints a little bit easier than what it was before then.
As a developer, I just want to say, like when you're talking about AD and identity, and I'm like, yeah. But now you're like, oh, data, right? It's data. We're querying data. I'm like, oh yeah, now I'm with you. This is interesting. But I remember, let's see, what was it called? It wasn't TechEd. What was in between TechEd and Ignite? Build. When they first announced Graph, that I remember that year, and I remember like a journalist came and asked me, look, what do you think about Graph? And like my first perception was, it looks really cool because it's just like all about data and connecting data, but I never really, it just still seemed kind of very Office 365 connections and stuff that I wasn't involved in. So I really kind of went, oh, cool, but, gonna go do my other stuff. But, so now I'm like, oh, wait. Now you got me, especially when you get linked to Graph, right?
now that we have it.
Yeah, now it's the source of data for everything.
I mean, it's great. Like, it's a beautiful query syntax, right? But, I there's so many query syntaxes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it does get a little confusing. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing, right? But I'm like, oh, I was just learning about, Azure Data Explorer. I always have to stop because I think Azure Data Studio. No, Azure Data Explorer, right? And that also has like an amazing query language. Custo.
Yeah,
Do you know how I remembered? Do you know the origin of Cousteau, the name Cousteau?
I
No.
don't.
Jacques Cousteau,
Jacques Cousteau?
because
Yeah.
they're exploring an
Oh,
ocean
because
of
he's
data.
a diver.
Oh, that's
But ocean, no,
good.
oceanic, an ocean
Oh.
of data.
Wow.
Anyway, so Cousteau's a really cool, it's amazing query
Yeah.
language. But yeah, so I'm just looking, going, oh, another one I have to learn.
Well, this one, the beauty here is we're still using a standard to get access to our data, so it's OData driven all the way. So
Yeah,
everything
that's
is
what.
OData.
That's actually I was about to say. It looks more like OData to me than anything.
It is.
And I
It
haven't
is.
played with
Rust
OData in
queries to get
so
your
long.
OData.
Yeah.
90% there. We are not fully to the all data spec though. So some few small things are still missing,
Yeah.
but we're getting there, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Cool.
So yeah, so that's what I wanted to share. I know Brian is working on really hard with a bunch of our PMs and engineers internally at Microsoft on a really cool series of blog posts. You want to talk a little bit about it, Brian?
Sure. Yeah, so back in December of last year, we launched something called the Microsoft Graph Mailbag. You can get to it at aka.ms/MS Graph Mailbag. I'll put that into the chat window. And the goal is that twice a month, on the second and fourth Tuesday, we're looking to publish some stories. And a lot of times it's hey, here's some news that maybe didn't get all the kind of highlights, or maybe here's some inventive ways to go and use something. So just recently we did have an article on the using the Electron applications with MGT. So great to be able to see kind of what people are doing with MGT and be able to build that out. There's actually some cool GIFs as well in here to actually show you it in action.
And I just want to pause here for a second and see. That's not this one. It's
You're
this
looking at
one.
the second one down the bottom.
What's the AK.ms link again? AK.ms.
Yeah, I'm putting it into the chat window here.
You're good. You're so good.
Oh, someone actually got it. Oh, Sam. Oh, beat me to it. Thank you, sir. But anyway, previous months we've also had some information on using like Power Automate with Microsoft Graph. So being able to automate some of those requests that you might need to go against Graph, or to be able to pull in multiple data sources. And so they actually showed using like a custom connector to be able to pull in multiple data sources, be able to work with them, do some kind of process automation. We also had a couple of topics around like using Microsoft Graph Explorer, what are some top APIs to be able to use with Microsoft Graph. So we're getting a lot of fresh kind of ideas that are touching a lot of different areas. But if there's any community feedback on areas you'd love to see more about, we've kind of got our backlog of things that we want to publish on, but more than happy to hear what people are working with or things that they want to see more about. Hopefully we can line up the right people to talk about that and really share more information out to the community. So feel free to kind of follow along with the mailbag and let us know if there's any kind of topics you want to see and hear more about.
Or people can actually contribute, right? If they want to write a blog post for you guys, can they do that?
If we had someone who was motivated enough, we will definitely work with you on that.
There you had it. You heard it here, friends. So reach out to Brian and Sebastian if you want to write a blog post or if you have ideas. They would love to hear it. Awesome.
Well, that's it. That's it for the giraffe segment. I would say for this month.
The
Giraffe.
Yeah, I mean, we're still working on the visuals. I promise you they're coming. They're going to be awesome as we move from one segment to another. But for now, we can just call it out. It's the giraffe. Thank you very much. We will include the links at the YouTube video later on if you want to go back and see what Brian and Sebastian demoed. I'm super excited about the Electron app. I think from all the announcements today, I think that has me more excited. Although conditional access with fine-tuned or fine-grained permissions is also exciting for security people, I guess. So thank you very much for coming. We will see you, I think, soon again because it's a recurring thing. And have a lovely Friday and a lovely weekend.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for the time, Christos.
See you guys.
Thank
Cheers.
Bye, Julie.
Bye. Okay, so I would say just the two of us now. Julie, how do you feel about that? Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm here.
Let me change the background. So we need to have your monitor now. So let me change that. I'm getting the hang of it. Just give me a second. So I will change that. And
Now I've just got Visual Studio open.
it's fine.
Oh, that's funny. It shows the sharing thing where it's sharing.
There you go.
There. There.
So we should be with your Visual Studio now, which is great. So I reached out to you a few weeks ago and said, "Hey, Julie, it would be lovely to have you on the stream because why not security and entity framework or data anyway?"
And what was my response?
It's like, I have no idea.
Oh, like Active Directory, security, identity. You don't want to talk to me. I don't know anything about that stuff.
And I thought that was a perfect segue for us to actually get into like at least educating people how to do security, right? Because
Or educate me.
educate everyone. I mean, I had to educate myself as well.
Probably,
Right?
there's probably some benefit to that.
There's a lot of benefit. And in fact, as we were discussing about what we're going to be showing on the stream, some people jumped on Twitter and said, well, there's an even better way now to do certain things rather than using interceptors. But if we have enough time, we'll look into the newer ways of doing it. If not, we have plenty of stuff to do. But before I do that, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Oh, yeah, that part. Hi, I'm Julie Lerman. I'm a longtime Microsoft MVP. I'm a Microsoft Regional Director, and before you think that means I work for Microsoft, Regional Director is kind of like a super MVP program. So the joke is we don't work for Microsoft, we don't have a region, we don't direct anything. And I've been working in software, and when I say working in software, I mean coding, for like over 30 years.
Wow.
I do a lot of coaching now. I still code, but I don't so much code for a living. I still do some coding for, like my client from like 25 years ago, because who's gonna manage that Fox Pro 2.6 app that will not die?
I know. I've been following you on Twitter for a long time. I know you have a love-hate relationship with VB6 as well, right?
I
You
made,
did have
I made a
project.
big mistake of doing a really good job on that a long time ago. Anyway, so yeah, I do a lot of coaching for software teams now because it's nice to have an old person around, right? Like
Yes.
somebody with some extra experience. Maybe they don't have anybody with those years, and I do. So I do some of that work, of course, is with Entity Framework, which has been kind of my go-to for ever since it was released in 2008.
Right.
So I help people with that when they have problems or questions. But I also do a lot of kind of architectural stuff, domain-driven design. People with like legacy, apps, whether they're just trying to modernize them or they're writing something new. So
Yeah.
I help them, with some of their big decision making and architecting and design and things like that. I live in Vermont.
With all the snow, I see your snow pictures, and I'm
we
like,
had a
God.
big melt over the last couple of days. It was almost up to 60. What is it now?
Wow.
It's about almost 50. So we have a lot of dirt roads in Vermont. I live on a dirt road, and so we have entered what we call mud season.
Kids love this
Where
season.
the roads, because the roads had been all frozen, like the
Yes.
dirt roads were frozen,
Yep.
and as it thaws, yeah. So
Does that mean that you have a 4x4 pickup truck?
yeah, I've got there's a lot of 4-wheel drives around here.
Nice.
Yeah.
Like proper
And you
proper
want one
utility
that's high
vehicles,
off the
not
ground.
not
You
the
don't
ones
want
that
one
dri-
that's low, because if your tires sink in and
Yes.
you're the bottom of your car.
not the
Dragging in the
SUVs
mud.
that are designed for road and people think that they can go off road. You have a proper off roader, right?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. My wife wants to get one. I'm like, there's no way we're gonna use this. There's no road.
Yeah, but it looks cool.
It looks cool. It looks tall as well. But
Yeah, and you got to throw a kayak and some bikes on the top and a big dog in the back. That's
and the
that's
kids.
my look,
And the
with
kids.
Samson.
Throw them at the back. You can just drive. Peace and quiet in the cabin. I would never do that. Okay. Regional director, you've been. I've been following you for at least 10 years on Twitter. You've been super active. You're very well known in the .NET community. You also have a fantastic blog that you keep up to date, which is impressive.
Well, there's a lot of history in that blog,
There is.
although I have to say I'm much more likely these days to just write a little tweet than a blog post. But I also, write articles No more. I'm not writing books anymore. I thought, let's 800-page book, a 900-page book, and then two like 250-page books. That's enough. So all of my my big content like that is directed at. I do at
Articles.
Pluralsight. So I do
Yes.
video courses.
And
Yeah.
and if you don't
Yeah,
use Pluralsight, for our audience, you can go to Dev Essentials. You get one full month for free if you haven't signed up before. And I think they have fantastic offers every so often. So they have sometimes
Oh
free
yeah,
weekends.
I think they do it a bunch, like
Yes.
a bunch of times a year, where they have like a one third off the subscription. But they have like personal subscriptions, and then they also have these big corporate subscriptions.
Yes.
So that's different. Yeah.
And Bolt,
So,
is,
yeah,
Bolt,
I've been
Bolt is saying, how do you find
authoring
time?
for Pluralsight since 2009,
Wow.
when I think there were 35 authors. So again, that's we're not employees. It's just same as like writing an article or writing a book or something. There were 35 authors, and now there are, I don't know, 1,800 or something. Yeah, because they've expanded in their content and just churning, keeping things up to date all the time, and so many different topics.
So many different topics, and I've probably been using on and off Pluralsight since 2012. It's
Yeah.
a brilliant learning resource. Bolt is saying, how do you find time to do all these things?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I'm self-employed, so that's kind of what I do. So I don't have also a 9-to-5 job. Now there are people who do. They've got 9-to-5 jobs, and they write books or create courses, and they have kids, and so like I'm self-employed. I have no kids except my husband
And the dogs.
and the dog, just
Dog.
the one. So that's what I do.
And he has a giant puppy, right? He has its own
Giant puppy.
Twitter
Yep,
account.
he's still hanging in there. I didn't bring him down here. He's a Newfoundland. They're giant breed dog, and I was just like reminding myself that he's not here. He's 13, which is really old for that size dog. So
Right.
he's it's kind of weak in the back, but he still eats great and eats and poops and wags his tail. So he's hanging in there. The important stuff. Anyway, and also,
Yeah.
you and I met once
We
in
met
person.
in Scotland. Out of all places,
right-
we managed
right
to get
before
you in
you
Scotland.
moved.
Yes, I know. That was a bit of a rush to get you there and get everything organized, but it was great to bring you over in Scotland and have.
Oh
have
yeah,
you
that was awesome. I
speak
really
the community.
appreciated that. And my husband too. We'd never been to Scotland before, so thank
And
you.
I think you had a couple of days to tour around a little bit, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so we were in Glasgow a little bit, then we went out to the
Stirling.
West Hebrides? No, the islands. Out to, what do you call that area? No, east, all the way on the east side of Scotland. I can't remember what that's called. What it's called? Duh. Anyway, so we started in Glasgow, then we went all the way east.
Yep.
No, west.
If you went to the
Everything's
island, if you
backwards
went to
on
the
the
islands, you
computer.
went west. On the east,
Yes.
we don't have any islands. So
West, like towards Iona.
yes.
So we went all the way west, and then we came all the way back to Edinburgh. So yeah.
There's
but
a
it
lot
was-
to pack in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a lot, but it was, it was incredible. It was so beautiful. And the funny thing was, it didn't rain the whole time we were there, and everybody kept saying, this isn't real. Like, it's not normal. It'll rain tomorrow. We were there. We were in Scotland for 6 days, and it didn't rain the whole time. As a matter of fact, it was so dry. There were brush fires up in the hills in Edinburgh. Crazy.
It's unheard of, to be honest. Although
Yeah.
the year that you came, it was probably one of the freakiest years. We had the best summer ever in Scotland. In fact, I think I put shorts on at the beginning of May, and I didn't take them off. It didn't rain. It didn't have a single bad day until the day we left, which was July 12th.
Right.
And then
But wasn't that also the summer there were like terrible heat waves across
yes,
Europe? And
it was. It was. That's why we left
Anyway.
and moved to Seattle, because we need the rain back. We brought the rain
I
with
hope
us.
people don't mind that we're just visiting here. Sorry, we'll get to the nerdy stuff soon.
True,
Just haven't
true.
seen them in a while.
True, true. Yeah, so entity framework and security. And tell us what you brought to us today. What do we have here?
I created this I have this little app that I wrote. It's the tiniest little app, and it uses entity framework. So there's nothing really interesting about the app at all. It just tracks 425 show episodes. That's it.
That makes it super exciting. I think.
Right.
I think that we will publish it later, guys. If you want to follow along and get up to date with our episodes, we have an ASP.NET Core app.
Right. So at this point, I've just got this running on my computer.
Local machine. Yes.
My local machine. I'm using SQL Server Local DB. So
Okay.
there's no I don't have to log into the server, the
Yes.
database server.
Yes.
And I set up like the absolute default, most basic authentication for ASP. So it's an ASP.NET Core Razor app. Razor, not Blazor. I'm always like 3 or 4 years behind with that front end technology stuff. And I just when using the template, I check the thing that says yes. Use authentication, right?
Yeah.
So it's as simple as that. So I just have one domain class.
Yep.
Episodes. You probably saw my context there, which is I'm seeding the data, and I did that for a reason. There's nothing going on in this context to just it's just this is not like how can we make entity framework really interesting. I wanted to do this so that I can see how do you take this
And secure.
and turn it into something that's using Active Directory. So right now it's just using the defaults
Yep.
that the template gives you for doing authentication. And that's why if for any of you who are used to using Entity Framework Core and migrations, that's why there's 2 migrations folders, because when I just let the template create the app, I also want to say my camera's here, Visual Studio's over here.
It's
So
fine.
I'm
I always do it
looking
like
over
that
here. I'm
because
not
my
like
machine's
also reading my email at the same time. So the template created the application DB context
Yes.
and the migrations folder. So
Yep.
when I added in my own DB context for tracking the episodes, then I created a specific folder for those migrations. So that's why there's 2 migrations folders. So that's kind of what happens when you use identity in this way.
Yeah.
Because the users, all the registered users of this app are all tracked in just another local DB database
Yep.
that is managed by this infrastructure, right? And so
Yes.
it's a completely separate model. So the other thing I did was just for my context, the episodes context,
Yep.
from the migrations, I generated
A
T-SQL
Yes.
so that you could run, you could use migrations and just go update database, and it would just create that for you. So I gave that. That's why I seeded the data, so you'd have a little data at the beginning.
Yes.
So, right, there's just, I'm not a web developer, right,
That's
on the
fine.
back end. So this is just, literally just template generated. So I'm just going to run this so you can see, and, it's coming up in the other screen. So I've already used this once. So I also, by the way, I used a setting. This stuff was all this security stuff was
In the
totally
template.
new to me.
Yeah.
I hate when the Solution Explorer goes away. View,
Very top.
Solution Explorer, and in Startup, thank you, Google. In Startup, I added. Okay, this got added by
The template.
the template.
Yep.
When I said use please give me some way to do authentication because I don't know how to do it. This bit right here, wait, no, backing up.
Further down.
I know I had to copy and paste this in, and I don't remember why. And I had to copy and paste, I copied and pasted this in. That's right, because this option here is what forces, like the registration and logging in is there.
Yep.
But you're not forced to use it by default.
Yes.
So I, figured out how to do that by Googling and copying and pasting. So that's what was making this login page come in right up front.
Yes.
So I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can remember.
The first line that the options in the entity framework means that you can't access the data unless you're authenticated, and the authorization policy is the one that forces authorization across the site.
Right, but that isn't an entity framework. Oh, did you say identity framework?
No, entity framework.
Oh, because that's be really confusing. So, but that
So that's not part of the entity
setting
framework.
that forces me to log in is not an entity framework thing.
No, it is. It's the old ASP.NET Identity.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were saying identity framework, which is kind of funny. So that's how little I've paid attention to, identity all these years. Let's see, my super complicated password, PASSWORD 1 with a
Exclamation
couple
mark.
of upper cases, and let's see if I remembered it right. Otherwise, I'll have to register again. Oh, damn. PASSWORD.
Yes, Julie was in the entity framework.
Look, and I even got really fancy
I know.
and masked, even though you just saw my email address, I masked it. And you know how much effort that took me to pull that off in Razor? Because I don't do front end.
I know.
I spent a lot of time doing that. Anyway,
so fancy, right?
there's the default homepage. There's the default privacy page. There's the episodes, and look at me and Razor. Look at that.
Yeah.
Clever,
it even opens on a different tab. That's amazing.
Yes. So that was just that took me so long to figure out how to do it. So
I don't care about the data. I don't care about the front end.
It's not what I do. Anyway, so if I stop this and start it again, I stay logged in.
Yes.
Otherwise, I log out, right?
Yep.
But all of that's being tracked in SQL Server local DB on my computer.
Yes.
Right. So, I don't deploy applications, but if I wanted to deploy this,
we will get there.
I need to make this work better.
Yes.
So I would be, moving to SQL Server, Azure SQL, right, and also, instead of having my kind of homegrown, the old ASP.NET 2 identity stuff, I thought it would be better to, tie this into AD.
Yes.
Where users and identity are managed instead of just having random people be able to use it.
Exactly.
So that's it. Isn't that the most exciting app you've ever seen?
It is super exciting because we don't need much for what we need to show, to be honest, right? So we thought about moving this to the cloud. Now, if you open your app settings.json, can we see what is in there? I know you don't have any secrets, so it's safe to show, but
right, exactly, because you don't
DB.
need you don't need a login and password for a local DB.
But this is not a production solution, right? So this is
That's
us
correct.
playing around. Usually developers will do that as a way to test things up, and then they get this solution ready to go somewhere. So one of the things that we see developers do quite frequently is putting sensitive information inside their app settings or web config or whatever. Yes, it happens.
Well, but when you're on your development machine, you can hide. You can hide them with
Secrets.
ASP.NET,
With your
User
.NET
secrets.
Yes.
right? So you can
However-
put them there, but that still stays on your machine.
Exactly.
That's for your computer.
Exactly. Also, it doesn't scale for a team. So imagine you have 10 developers. Now all 10 developers have to have the same secrets. Now a new one comes in. You have to share those secrets around. So it's not ideal. So I thought what we should do is have a modular approach. First, I want us to remove the connection strings from the code. And to do that, .NET and Key Vault and Identity works very well across the board. So we can use Key Vault to eliminate the secrets from the connection string. And as we move to the cloud, as we move to Azure, we will also leverage that to have the connection strings there, because we'll still need the connection strings even though we use a managed identity, or we'll use a managed identity, because the managed identity needs to know where to point to, right? So managed identity will authenticate to SQL Azure when we move to the cloud. However, managed identity needs to know which SQL server to go to. So we still need a connection string. And even though that connection string will not have any secrets, we don't want to disclose that information for whatever reason. So the first thing that we need to do is go and spin up an Azure Key Vault. Have you ever done this before, Julie? Let's go to the portal. You have an Azure subscription.
On a different cloud once.
It's fine.
Which means I have a concept of how it works, right?
Yes.
It's good to,
correct.
Try those different things. So here's my question. Since I did put this on GitHub,
Yeah.
do you want to do it, or do you want to literally just walk me through it and I just log into Azure and do all that? Actually, can I do that from inside of Visual Studio?
You could, but it would be a bit of a pain. I think in the portal
Okay.
we'll have a lot more flexibility on how we do it. So I would say let's open the Visual Studio portal. Sorry, the Azure portal. There's no Visual Studio portal yet. We have VS Code Spaces. So in the portal, we're going to go and spin up a new Key Vault if you don't have one. If you already have one, we don't need to spin a new one. We can just configure it. So if you, at the very top that says search, you can search for Key Vault. There's a search text box. There you go.
Why is it asking me to buy a subscription when I'm logged in?
Oh, you don't have a subscription? Is that?
No, I have my Visual Studio. Oh, I might be.
You're logged in with
the wrong Office 365.
Yes.
Here, I have to log into that.
Sorry, it's GitHub Code Spaces. That's fine, Bolt. Thank you for correcting me. It is GitHub Code Spaces. It's a force of habit. I used to be in the marketing team that worked on the Code Spaces stuff.
I haven't had to type my password in for. Oh, I never type my password in.
It doesn't seem to have one for Azure.
Yes, I'm spacing because of the pressure.
It's okay. Well, you're still trying to log in as at thedatafarm.com. So is that the right tenant? Or do you need to use a different account? Okay.
Oh, come on. No. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I was looking at my computer. Wait. I'm just going to do this on a different screen. I'll feel a little better about it.
Yes, please. Let's not dox you on...
You can't see that now, right?
No, we can't see that. It's all hidden away.
I just don't even know any of my passwords anymore, and I usually know that one at least. And again, I'm just like, I don't know why. I'm just being like, I can only do one thing right now, and I'm not being very smart.
Hey, you can't say that for yourself. I mean...
No, really.
I've seen you in action.
If nobody was watching me, it would have taken me a half a second. But now it's like,
well, nobody's watching us anyway.
Wait,
it's just
I
the two
never
of us.
thought about logging in before, but I don't know why this is suddenly not available to me. This is really weird. What is the other way you Office? What the heck? Oh, maybe Office stuff. This so crazy. Why? Honestly, like, when's the last time I logged in? But I don't understand why it's not
letting you sign in, or it doesn't find your subscription.
Why it's not just giving me my yeah, why LastPass is kind of embarrassing me right now. I just have to stop and think.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that I typed in the right thing. Maybe I just... Oh my gosh. What? Come on, think. What the heck? No. This is insane.
Doesn't work?
Well, it should, and I don't know why it's not. Like, did I... You know, every once in a while something really weird happens, and then I get forced to change my password instead of the one that I know that I've been using for a lot of years. Unless somebody, like, hacked me or something and changed my password.
That wouldn't be good.
That's really weird. I've not had this problem. I've never had this problem before. What? I know that that is my password. I don't have my key lock on. This is so crazy. Now what do I do? That's all of my whole Microsoft life is tied to that password. I told you when you said let's do this show, and I'm like, but me and authentication and security, and look how badly I'm failing.
Don't worry, we'll get there.
I do not know what's going on. And also, the really weird thing is that that LastPass is not showing me what I need. So that's what I can't understand. So...
And you're signed in with the
it's
right...
not tied to my office. Oh my gosh. Is everybody leaving now?
No, nobody's leaving. Everybody's here waiting for you.
Following my pain?
Following...
Okay. I am literally looking at the password now in LastPass, and it is exactly what I was typing.
And is it the right account?
I don't know what is going on. Okay. Let me go back here and make sure I'm there. I'm selecting that, and because I do have a number of tenants, right, with the same thing.
Yes, exactly.
And no.
What happened to your green screen? It's weird.
My green screen?
Yeah, did it move backwards? Did somebody move your green screen?
No, it's still there. Maybe it's embarrassed by me and doesn't want to be near me anymore.
No, don't say that. I mean, worst case scenario, I can take over and I can drive.
I'm a computer professional, right? Like,
Yep.
I hope that if nothing else, this is making other people feel a little better about themselves. Right. So this is exactly what I went through before. Okay, personal account. I might have accidentally selected. No, it's my
not letting you sign in?
password is not working. Wow. Email me. I have to do this. This is so crazy. So look what I'm going through right now.
Okay.
I'm gonna get a code.
Yeah.
So everybody sees my email. That's okay. Now I'm gonna look at my. Oh, that's just. I'm going. Okay, what are they looking at? So I'm doing a password reset. How crazy is that? Online, live. This is all about. Once you set a new password, your Skype and Microsoft. See, this is now the password that I've known for all these years. New password. Okay, here we go.
I mean, worst case scenario, I can take over and drive from my end.
Yeah, but look, see, break free from your passwords. Yes, that's what I want to do.
You can say,
no, don't save that.
Yeah.
Don't get it now. No
Say,
thanks.
no
Just
thanks.
let me in.
Yeah.
So that was crazy. Like, my password wasn't working. Yes, it's fine. No, don't. No, just, it's fine. Just leave me alone. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry. That was crazy, right?
It's fine.
I prepared. I wrote my little app. Who knew this was going to happen? Okay, so
It's a minor
Azure Key
setback.
Service.
So first thing we need to do is create a new key vault. And we probably need SQL as well. Since we're moving to SQL, right? Okay. Should be that
Create?
one. Yeah. Here, just use a resource group that you can create a new one if you want to, just for this show, and then you can wipe it out, or you can create an existing one. It's totally
Okay,
up to
I
you.
just want to say to Bolt, that wasn't a demo. It wasn't that I messed up on a demo because I wasn't demoing anything. I was just being a dope. Well, no, that was really weird. Okay, so, all right, everybody's going to see all my key vault name.
It's fine. They won't be able to access it even if they. It's a
425
publicly available
show.
URL.
No.
Of course, no. We own that.
25. Ha ha.
Haha.
Okay, standard
See.
pricing. Am I going to get a bill for this?
It's very minor. By the way, you need
Okay,
to have
so-
a resource group selected.
What is interesting here that since we're all learning,
Yeah.
what is interesting here worth noting? Is there anything here worth noting, or is just defaults A-OK?
Defaults are A-OK. Just make sure you select the resource group. Otherwise, it won't let you create the resource.
Yep,
There you go.
just random. Oh, I have one for like demos. I have so many resource groups.
I
It's
can
really,
see it.
really, really bad. And then I just like random, but they're all, anything that's a demo, I can just pick that because I
Perfect.
can just wipe it out later. Okay?
Yes.
Can I go ahead and create, or do I need to worry
No,
about
just
access policy?
review and create.
Okay. Are you reviewing it? I'm not looking at it. I get like whatever.
Yeah, we don't need any of the options for encrypting VMs or deploying. So we're good. We'll just
Here,
go and
I
make
just
sure.
thought
that
to
we
make
have-
it a little easier for those of you who are watching on your phones.
Yes, you'll be surprised that there are people that are watching it not on their machine.
Right.
Okay,
So there, nice and big. Or I could actually do this out without my I'll pin it.
let's go to our resource as well.
Pardon me?
Just click go to resource.
Go to resource.
Yep. And then in there, if you scroll on the, you don't have to scroll actually, access policies, which is just in the middle of the page. Yeah.
You're
So
going
as you
here,
can
here,
see,
here.
yeah, you are the owner of this one, and you have permissions across all the keys and all the secrets, which is fine. Ideally, when you run production systems, you don't want to use your account. You want to use a service account. So we'll do that in a
Right.
bit.
Right.
for now-
but I'm using my base account.
You're using the account that you use to create the key vault. Now has full permissions on the key vault. We just want to check
Okay.
that because that's what we'll
All right.
use first to access the secrets as we begin. So next, we need to go back into our code, and we need to use the Azure secret. There's a key vault extension for ASP.NET. So if you open your NuGet package manager,
All right. There we go.
we need to add two NuGet packages. One is the Microsoft Identity. It's Azure.identity. Apologies. Because it's an Azure SDK. There you go.
Is that the right version I should be using?
That's the right version.
Dun, 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 dun. You know, I always wish there was somebody here to tell me what to click and what to do instead of having to Google every little thing. Thank you.
Isn't it fun?
Appreciate it.
And then
I don't know.
once that gets installed, then there's another NuGet package that we need to. Hey, thanks, Paul, for
Poker
joining us
night.
today. It's poker night for him. He's gonna have some
Poker
fun.
night.
Yeah.
Get that money.
get that money. Or I don't know, do you play with beans or non?
Oh no, he's got a
Denominational
number of
stuff.
dollar signs there.
It can
He or
be virtual.
she, they've got a number of dollar signs there. Okay, so
The next NuGet package is azure.extensions.aspnet core. It's a mouthful. .extensions.aspnet core. Let's see.
I'm lazy. I was hoping that would work, but
And
not enough.
it's .configuration.secrets. extensions.aspnet core. Not it's the
there it
fifth.
is. I see it.
It's the
Oh,
fifth.
oh, there it is.
That's the one.
Oh, the version numbers are different. The other one was 1.03.
Yeah, it's not the same library. So this
Got
is
it.
from ASP.NET to be able to pull secrets in your config files without having to authenticate. So it does that in a magic way. So
Got it. Okay, that makes sense.
So now that we have these two NuGet packages, we need to change our main.cs. So in program.cs, we need to do some code changes, and I will put it on our chat.
Oh, so I can copy and paste?
Yes, you can copy and paste. So if you go into OBS Ninja, I will send it. It might be awfully formatted, so we need to fix it.
Got it.
And on line 20, just do a carriage return and stick the new code in there.
Get the last
Formatting.
little
What happened to formatting?
dash seconds ago.
Yes. So once we fix the formatting, we need to change the URI for the key vault, which we can get from the web.
Okay.
And
is also, do I need to?
you need a. So can you format a little bit so I can see what's happening here?
Yeah, I'm looking.
I'll probably use var. I will take var build config on the next line as well, so it's nice and formatted.
Wait,
That's fine.
nope, ed didn't help. And I'm gonna just do a little more so you can see what we're looking at here.
Yeah. So
Context config, right? Lambda, race, right? Is there just an extra something here? I'm not seeing it.
try to resolve the. Let me see. Try to resolve your.
Do I need?
No, it needs to be a dot. Put a dot in front of the configure. Dot configure app configuration.
Oh, right. Okay, there
There
we
you
go.
go.
Now, this is going to bring me the namespace using Azure Identity.
Yes. So the Azure
Okay,
Identity.
let me do Control ED again. Oh, it still won't push that over. It's so ugly. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
This is,
And
got to make it readable. Okay, so
so we need to change the
now
URI now.
this
Yep,
is
that's mine.
this is what we're going to replace with my own.
Correct.
Okay, cool.
So back in the portal, at the root of your key vault, it should be in the properties, that information. Wow, that was slow to render. Overview or properties?
Uh-oh, is this all my secrets everybody's looking at?
No, there's no,
Okay,
there's
is
no
this it?
secrets. Yeah, that's the one.
Copy to clipboard.
Copy the
Boop,
clipboard.
boop, boop. Code. Isn't that awesome? Like right off the bat, my first try was a unique name. That's always the biggest challenge.
It was
Yeah,
amazing.
with cloud
I
apps,
have to say. So
having a unique name.
now that we have that,
Okay.
we need to create two secrets to store your connection strings.
Oh.
I would. Can you remove the
So,
the forward slash from the .NET?
Wait,
Uh-huh,
wait. I have a question. I have a question.
Yes, go.
How does this app know
Mm-hmm.
that I am allowed to go here?
First of all, remove the forward slash from the .NET in the URI, all the way at the end.
Thank you.
Yes. So the Azure Identity Library has a number of ways for acquiring a token to go and speak to Azure resources. So you see the new default Azure credential? It uses a chain set of predefined credential providers. And this one is a nice wrapper, so it will try everything that could be available on your machine. So first it will try with a managed identity. I can't remember the exact order. Then we'll try for Visual Studio credentials. And right now, hopefully the account that you're signed in Visual Studio is the same one that you signed into Azure. If it's not, we can either configure your Visual Studio to have that account, or we can sign into the Azure CLI to use that.
Okay, so on my development machine, it's relying on what it might find on my development machine, and this, it might find something else in the pipeline, in the workflow. But at least at some point, if it doesn't find something else, it's going to find my Visual Studio login.
Correct.
And then it's going to say, okay, this Visual Studio user on this computer is allowed to access it, which is going to be different than when it's deployed, because I guess when it's deployed, it's going to be kind of like your application is going to have some ability.
Correct. In Azure, we have the notion of managed resource, managed identities. So your web app will have a managed identity, which we will use to access SQL, Key Vault. But for now, we're developing locally, and we don't want to have any secrets or any keys that speak to storage. So we use this one. It will find some credentials somewhere. It will do it. So is this account here the same one they have in Azure right now?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay, so we don't need to change anything. So that's the default Azure credential that will provide the credentials to sign in. So with that, we have what we need in the code to pull the secrets. So now we can take the secrets that you have the connection strings that we have in the app settings, and move them to Key Vault.
Okay, so the right now, the connection strings are for my local DB on this computer.
Which is fine.
But what I really want to do is I'll need to create some SQL Server databases. Well, I don't need it for this.
Not now, not yet. Not yet. Let's do so for now, let's do the move of the secrets there, because that will be a scenario that other people may want to use.
Because it's still just local.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
And one step at a time is always the smartest way to do stuff like that.
Exactly. So now copy the server.localDB, the value of the default connection. Just copy that value without the quotes.
This is what happens when you let Visual Studio create a name for your database.
See, it's so human readable. I will put it into Notepad because we need to do one small change, which I think is a bug that we need to fix at some point. So put it there, remove the quotes, and then remove the double forward slash. Is that a forward slash or a backward slash? I can never remember.
Don't ask me. I've only been doing this for 30 some odd years.
Just one of them. Right? Because for some weird reason, the SDK will try to escape it. So when you pull the value out from Key Vault, the Azure SDK will say, oh, you have escaped a character, so I'm going to add a new one. And you end up with four forward slashes.
That's like that that's a C# thing.
Yes.
So I'll tell you what that slash is called. It's the slash that's not on the same key as the question mark. The other slash is the slash that's on the question mark key. That's what they're called.
I think when you go from left to right downwards is maybe our audience can help us here. Is it the forward slash or the backward slash? I don't know. I'm so confused by this.
Nobody knows except maybe comp sci majors.
It's backslash.
As a history major,
JP
that's my
Flexes.
excuse.
So it's a backward slash.
So I'll grab the other one.
Yes, grab the other one, and then we'll need to go into Key Vault and create that. It is a backslash. Apparently, going from top to bottom, right that way, it's backslash. Okay, thank you, friends. That's super helpful. I learned something today. Now in Key Vault, we need to create two secrets that will correspond to those values.
Do I have enough windows open? Let's see if I can figure out.
Never enough tabs. No, it will be secrets. Yes.
Generate a secret.
Generate a secret.
I guess
that's the one. Now here the name needs to be specific because
this default connection and episode connection.
It's connection strings. because it's a hierarchy,
Oh,
right?
right.
Yeah. Connection strings.
Now, I know there are some scenarios where this needs to be a colon.
No,
Others where
no,
it needs to be a
that's
double
where-
underscore.
No, it needs to be dash dash. No
Dash,
underscore.
dash.
Dash dash.
Okay.
And then default connection, I think. And then your secret. And that's it. Just press create.
Okay. I'm just double checking that what I just pasted in was. Oh, that was the episodes connection. See?
Good catch. Good catch. You got a typo. You got a typo. It's gonna come back and bite us. It's episodes rather than episodes.
Okay. Well, maybe I was doing what are the SB awards? The ESPY awards. Are those for sports?
ESPN's awards.
ESPN SB awards. Okay, so
That's all we need.
right. It's enabled, and I don't
Yep.
care about for this activation or expiration. Okay. Boing.
So that's your
Okay,
first
wait,
secret.
let me
and
do
then the
this
second
one. I'm like a total pro now.
There you go.
Dash 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 dash. Okay.
And just
create.
press create. And now for the real test, all we have to do is just go back into our code, remove the two values from the app settings, and see if it works. No, don't. You just need to remove the values, not the keys.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Can I comment them out just in case? Oh no, I've got them. I've got them in Notepad.
correct. You need just an empty value, so it will be quote, empty quote. Yep. And the same for the second value. And
That's interesting. This is kind of like with Docker Compose, when you have environment variables and you want to store them in an environment file.
Yep.
So in the Docker Compose file, you still have to essentially declare the variables. And that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing here. We're declaring them and then basically saying, okay, go find them. Right?
yes. As long as the values match, then everything should work out of the box.
Okay. So do it.
Yes.
You crossing your fingers?
So our friend NB Stone G says, so much C# code from Microsoft. It's a little bit sad. And I agree. I mean, we tend to over-index. Oh, what happened? Sir, talking cache credential application. This exception was originally thrown. Is Azure key vault is configured by Azure Active Directory users only. Oh, please do not use the consumer's endpoint to serve this request. What?
And I don't have to Google this because you will know what it means.
What? So this is an Active Directory. Are you using a Microsoft Live account instead of an Azure Active Directory account?
Yes, that's my Azure account is tied to that.
It's a Live account, isn't it?
Yeah.
Ah, damn. That,
Yeah, it's old.
That's not going to work because it's an organizational account. And you don't have a...
You know, I do have Office 365. I just haven't set up.
But it's not tied to your subscription, right?
No, I don't believe so. Let's see. So this is, it's all good information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. I mean, this is what we normal people
Come
who are
across.
not
Yeah.
experts at this. This is the kind of stuff that we go through, right?
So
let's
you
see
probably
if
have
what would happen if I logged in. So this is the
the
this
Microsoft 365.
Julia is the kind of the owner of my Office 365. I actually have a J Lerman in Office 365 also.
But this does not have a subscription tied to it, does it?
Right. How quickly can I set it up?
Well,
Or would it be better to?
you may have to. The challenge there is that you'll have to
Oh, here's a question.
go on.
Does all of this work in from a free trial account?
Yeah, because you get everything in $200.
Oh no. Would I have to go? Do I have to like put
You
in
have
my?
to put your credit card. Yes.
Is it worth it, or do you want to do it?
Well, we can switch to my machine if you want, and then we can do it like that.
Okay. That's true. Can I be logged in to my to this this is the live account. I had to stop and think. I was like, live. Oh yeah, that's right. This is the live account. Can I somehow add my other account to the subscription?
You
If
could.
this is a security question, you should know, right?
I haven't tried it. You should, but so you need to go into your. So we could try this. You can go into your Active Directory.
In here.
Yes. Search for Active Directory.
Never used it before. Which one?
There's just the second one. Yeah, that's the one. And then there should be users. So you have Julie Lerman at the data farm, which is a member, but
Right. Well, that's right. So I have that email address
that's
is tied to my live account and is an email address within my Office 365 company.
so that means that you could use this account to sign into Visual Studio and to sign into, or maybe not Visual Studio.
Yes, I should be able to do that, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
But we'll also need to set up this user as a Key Vault user, so we can have access.
Okay. All right. Is everybody still with us? I mean, is this a normal, like, are you happy to see these crazy
Well,
problems?
Daryl is saying that they had a customer that came across this issue, so it's a known pain point.
Yeah, cool. All right. So sign out.
You can add multiple accounts, I think.
Oh,
It's fine.
oops. That's how little I know about this stuff. All right, let me just sign back in here.
Yep.
And then I have to sign in as not the owner of the Office 365, but oh wait, that's actually because this is not showing. I can't tell which
Which account it is?
account this is, but the
So-
fact that it's got this and not my little remember before it was
Yes.
like my little
Yep.
green thing.
Yep.
So I think this is
This is
the
the
other
right account. Okay. Now, is this account configured? What was the account? Show me again, please. It's G Lerman at the
Yep.
datafarm.com. Is that
Right.
Can we set up this account in Key Vault as well? Because if it's not, it won't be able to access anything. So if you go
Okay,
into
let's see.
Key Vault,
Okay. Oop, oop, oop.
so go to Home and it should be part of your at the very top.
Oh, okay. Just a sec. But you're
That's not the same user though, is it? Click.
no.
click.
This is
Uh-huh.
the live user.
Oh, it's the live user.
Right. I have the same email address
Oh.
in live and as part of my Office 365 account.
That's not confusing. Let's.
It's totally normal though,
yeah,
right?
let's-
I mean, you know, my business name, the data farm. So I set the data J Lerman, the data farm up
Yep.
1,000 years ago,
Sure.
right? And then when I got Office 365, I was like, well, my business name is thedatafarm.com, right?
Right.
So that's what I set up.
Okay, so let's go to our Key Vault and see if we need to add that account again, because I think right now, or maybe Visual Studio was the one that was not right. Let's try to run it and see if the same error message comes back again.
That's actually
Yep.
the one step at a time approach,
Yes,
right?
let's do that. Holding my breath now.
No, that's easy enough.
Unauthorized.
Yeah.
Which means that the account I have here is not configured to access Key Vault. So we need to go and add it, I think.
Okay. Sure, Julie, come on our show. It'll be really easy. We'll do it. We'll do this for you.
You know what?
You don't have to know anything about this stuff.
It's a real pain because I use Active Directory all the time. So all the accounts I have are part of the domain. I don't really come across these kind of issues.
That's actually good then.
It is good.
That you're seeing this
So in
real
access
life.
policies, which is
I flew by it. There it is.
you did. So here we may need to add
The other J Lerman.
the other J Lerman. Yeah, the one that is signed into Visual Studio. So click on the add access policy, then select secrets from the drop-down, just secret management, and then click on the secret permissions. Press select all and then unselect everything, and then select get and list.
Oh,
Because
this is good because this is that other perspective, right? Instead of just you own everything, like
Correct.
here's how you would set up a user.
Yep, that's correct. And then you need to say select principal. And from here, you need to type the account that is signed into Visual Studio. That's the one, right?
Right, but this could be
The live one?
my live. This could be my live account.
The live one wouldn't have access to Keybolt. You wouldn't be able to access your
So does it only care about the
AD
literally
accounts.
the letters in the email address?
Well, it cares about Active Directory. So if that account exists in Active Directory, then it should be okay. So just press add.
Okay.
And now,
Try it again.
no, what happens? Is that the one that we already had here? No, where's the one that we added?
Wait, maybe.
Should be below.
Yeah, but maybe I need to. I'm wondering if there's a scroll bar over here. Remember that problem we had with Azure with
We couldn't find it. It was at the bottom. Yes, I think that's what happened right now. So let's do it again. Because there was one more step before that screen closed. But now you know what to
Okay.
do. You're an expert.
secret management.
There you go.
Nope, none of these. None of these. Get and list.
Yep.
None.
No.
Well,
Select principal.
No, select principal.
Yep.
J Lerman at thedatafarm.com.
Yeah.
Select.
Select. Now add.
Pretty sure I did that before, but now add.
What the?
It's because it's the same one.
Is it the same? Oh god.
It's the same one. It's right because I have J Lerman at thedatafarm.com I have as a live account, and I also have as an
So-
Office 365 account.
So you see where it says email and then it uses the J Lerman _ the data farm? I think that's the account that you need to use to sign into Visual Studio.
but that's the
Oh.
live that was.
Click on the user there. Oh, that's the
The
access
fact
points.
that this says on Microsoft.com also is a hint to that issue.
It is. But I don't know why it's not picking it up.
Now, how do we add somebody that it doesn't know about yet? Because I was here. Let's just start here. Can you create a new principal?
You can create a new principal inside Azure AD. So we'll need to go into Azure and create a new
Okay,
account.
so there. Do you see?
Yes.
Because that's not on Microsoft.com.
Yes.
But it's not letting me because it doesn't exist.
Correct. So we need to create that account.
Okay.
So in Azure AD now, just no, you can go back to your. Oh, you're gonna open a new one. Okay.
I'm just opening another window.
That works too.
Azure Active Directory.
Yep. And users. Third from the top.
Yep.
Fourth. You just need to create a new user now.
I don't.
You might not let you create that because you already have the. So we might need to use this account, like the jlerman at jlerman the data farm.onmicrosoft.com to sign in, which is fine.
I'm balking because wait, the domain name I need isn't shown here. I'm balking because that was the account we were signing in as, and it wasn't working.
But you were not signing to Visual Studio with the Active Directory account. You were signing with your live account, which had access to your tenant, but it wasn't not an Active Directory user.
Oh, okay. We'll just keep trying this.
Yes.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
Julie Active Directory.
So now that account,
Oh,
that's the one.
that's everything.
Yes.
This is not an abnormal problem to have the same, right? Have these different tenants, right? With the same exact email.
Well,
I
the
hear
email
people-
here says jlerman _. So this is not going to work because now Visual Studio is not signing with that new user that we created. You know, the jlerman at that email, that's the one that we need to use to sign into Visual Studio, and they need too much.
Right, it wouldn't let me
You need
put
to,
in just the data farm.
so
Let's try again.
yeah,
Back
go
to Active
into
Directory.
users and copy that email address. User principal name, that's the one you need. It's in identity.
I'm lost. The user principal name, this
That's the
one here.
Yep.
I'm trying.
I'm surprised it doesn't have a copy right next to it. So Visual Studio now. No, we have that one. That's there.
Oh, no.
Now Visual Studio.
Visual. Okay, okay.
So account settings. And then add account. It's there's a
looking.
small plus right next to all accounts.
Got
there's a
it. I
small
see it.
plus,
Okay, yeah, because it's just resized. Okay.
That's the one. Yeah.
I'm so confused. So not either any of these.
None of these. The new one.
Oh, and I made up a.
Now you enter your password.
Oh, come on. If I change
It's
the password
secure.
here, then I have to change the
No,
password.
no. That's one Azure Active Directory, so it will be applicable across the board. It just says, oh, it's the first time that you sign in with this account. Somebody created it for you. Just go and create a new secure password. That's all it's saying.
Oh, wait, no. Wait. What was this first one that it wanted?
The current one.
Oh, okay. I'm just adding one to each one. Oh, and now you know why I always leave all of this authentication stuff to a professional. Okay.
Now let's try
So,
it.
I have to sign in as the other account though, right?
I not sure. Let's give it a go. We might try to do both.
Okay. Oh, right. Change one thing at a time.
Yes.
I always say that, but then I'm always like, oh, I want to do this. I want to do that.
Yeah, so we need to move the currently logged in user and sign in with that user. Which is weird because I thought you just need to add it in the accounts. Yeah.
Is this where I sign in with a really weird one, right?
That's the one.
You can't hear my stomach, can you, growling?
Nope. Kung Fu
It wasn't
Fury
close enough to the
keyboard
microphone.
is banging their head. Okay. Let's see what happens now.
Who knew? Who knew you were going to do all this interesting stuff?
Now you're an Azure AD expert as well.
Oh, that's a different error message.
Why is it forbidden? Service request failed. Well, it's not a 401, so you're not unauthenticated. It just says forbidden.
Oh, did we change the key vault to use the new one? Yes.
Yes,
did.
we added the permissions. So why does it say 403? That's weird. Key permissions, certificate permissions, access policy there. Going to access control IAM, so the second from the top. Going to role assignments. It's yeah, and then add this user.
I just want to just step back a moment and put a little PSA here.
Yep.
For anybody who's joined late, the reason we're going through this insanity is because my whole Azure account is actually tied to an old live account.
Yep.
It's not tied to my O365 account. And so we're trying to kind of jam it together so it will work. But
Correct.
so this is not designed to work with just, your basic Microsoft Live account.
Yes.
Okay, so add a role assignment to this one.
Yes.
Okay.
And select the role from the top. So we want Key Vault
Reader.
secrets user. Or Key Vault secrets user.
Got it. Anything else?
Let's say, I think, well, you need to select the user again because now you changed the role. So select the user again. Oh, we already have selected the member.
No,
Okay.
it's already there. It's
Press
there.
press save.
So this is interesting issue.
Yeah, click on the role
For
assignments on there's a top like second row from the top. There's check access and role assignments. I want to see. Okay, so the owner before did not have to have permissions. Let's try that now and see what happens.
Okay.
I'm
Change
stumped
one thing at a time.
by that because it should allow you to authenticate and access the key vault.
We're down to 9.
God. Can we extend?
So there's a point at which I think instead of trying to solve this problem, is it accurate to say you should not be, this doesn't even make sense with a live account. We shouldn't be doing it with a live account. You should be, we need to at least start with the assumption that your Azure account is tied to, a proper Office 365 account. Is that correct? So we're just like doing everything we can to make it work when to begin with we're in a scenario that doesn't even make sense anyway. And should we
Correct.
stop like the madness?
Yeah, let me see.
Stop the madness and let you've got the code on GitHub and everything, so you could maybe
I do have
it.
the code in GitHub. Do you want me to switch on mine
Okay.
and see and take it from there?
I mean, it seems like a pragmatic solution, and I know I'm we're the same in this way. It's like, oh, we can just make it work. Just do this, do this, do this, do this, and then and it just gets crazy. And then if you stop and remember, why are we in this situation? Well, we shouldn't even have started here anyway. So it's silly to keep trying to make this work when it's a bad setup.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
let me.
But what a lesson, right? For somebody like, I mean, it's a perfect lesson for somebody like me, because there's going to be a lot of people like me who, have just a regular Microsoft account, right?
Correct.
Not an Office 365 account. And they're going to be like, oh, I'm going to, try this. And they're going to, like, it's going to fail, it's going to fail, it's going to fail.
Okay, let's switch to mine.
Thanks for crossing your toes, Robert. By the way, didn't help. You need to be one of those people with like 20 toes. So, do you want to switch to showing your screen?
We will switch. Let me just.
This is what programming is like. Last time I did something on Twitch with Fritz, Jeff Fritz.
Yep.
We were doing something with Azure functions, and I had always used JavaScript. I had learned Azure functions down the JavaScript path, not the C# path, where you have all the attributes and everything.
Yep.
And he was like, "Oh, well, we'll do it with C#, but it'll just be the same." I had no idea how to do it at all. Like, we were just like spinning our wheels for like the longest time, because I literally had never done it before, and it was a mess. It was so silly, I mean, on the other hand, it's kind of what we go through. Now I've done a lot of C# based functions, so. Okay, so now we're looking at yours.
You're looking at mine,
you can tell
right?
It's different
So
because it's dark mode.
It's dark mode. Apparently, we shouldn't be doing dark mode when we demo stuff, but it is what it is. So what we have here.
It doesn't reflect off my glasses as badly, so that's good.
That's a good one. So what we have here is exactly what we're talking about. We have the configuration to my Key Vault. We have the right account up here. So once my machine decides to respond, I'm using my Microsoft account. So this is an Active Directory user. And if I jump into my my Azure, not Azure Data Studio, portal.azure. I just want to go through what we discussed so people can see. No, thanks. I don't want to do that. So you can see I also have Outlook accounts and other stuff that I sign in. But it's always easier when you use a two-factor authentication. Security. Okay, signed in. My Key Vault is working. No thanks. What? What was that? That's a super new one now.
I think I may have
we ruined everything today. No thanks.
Juju, Julie Juju, through the internet to you.
You know what? I can make it work anyway, so I don't care about it. It's already running. It's already been set up. I can probably, I can probably bring my.
I have nothing to do with it. I swear I didn't.
Problem solved. Brought another window here. So our Key Vault is here. The same Key Vault identity. From an access policy perspective, I'm going to be using my local user for now, and it's down here. It's an owner. Once it loads, it's an owner of this Key Vault. So I have full permissions with my Microsoft account. So let's run it and see what happens. Next, okay. Let's not use that one. Let's run it using Kestrel. So 5001. I don't know. I find IIS a little bit slow. Do you find the same issue, Julie?
Yeah. Well, I usually use Kestrel server. I run it from Kestrel. I never run it from IIS, unless I did without paying attention.
And while this one is starting up, just to show you that I have the connection strings removed. And it's thinking about it. Let's open the browser so we can confirm that we have the right secrets. So here, if I go into my secrets, I have connection string default connection and connection strings episode context, which is exactly the same values that Julie had. And now it's fine. It's because my account signed out. So account settings. See, I got a different error message, which was a 400 because my token expired. So I need to re-enter my credentials. Now the question is, will it complain about this machine not being Azure?
I'm not logged into Twitch, and I don't want to. Oh, I could log in. I just wanted to respond to Daryl Challenger, who said the connection between Azure and O365 is kind of tough. I have a client who canceled Power BI because he couldn't log into the Azure portal. Something should be done about that. And I was just wanting to say that this is the very first time I've ever experienced the need for that, that tie-in. I've used Azure for a lot of things, and I've never hit this before. That's why it was so shocking to me. But it's just interesting. Like, where's the line where some of the Azure services just really require that, it makes sense for, identity. And really, I don't think the issue is, in this case, that I couldn't be added as a user, but it's that my Azure account is totally tied to my live account was the problem. Anyway, I'm not making excuses for that. I just wanted to note that honestly, with all that I've done over the years with Azure, this is literally the first time. I mean, you've seen my face, right? Like what?
It's because of
right?
how
and literally
identity
the
works.
first time I've ever experienced this issue that is related to the fact that my Azure account is tied to live.
Yes. So apparently, as of yesterday, my machine is not compliant with Microsoft security. And because I'm using my Microsoft account, it said, I can't let you sign in because it might have sensitive information here. Which is not stopping us, because the next step is, now that we have the secrets removed from the app, and trust me, it works if you're not in a lockdown machine. The next, and I'm saying that because I'm using a VM, I'm not using my full-blown machine because I'm testing different versions of Visual Studio and what have you, so I don't want to break my main box. So the next step that we're going to take is actually take the application and move it to Azure and remove the secrets altogether from the connection string. So
and doing that, if I were to do that,
yes,
that would remove also the problem I'm having with
the local
how
account.
Visual
That is correct.
Studio is trying to authenticate, because everything would be on Azure.
Correct.
I mean, this is really literally. So, another interesting point is, remember you said that the extension, the Add Azure Key Vault extension that we're using, it will look through my computer for a number of different possible stores to find identity. And it was clearly saying, oh, I found it in Visual Studio, so I'm not looking anywhere else. Or maybe Visual Studio is the only place on my computer that I happen to have that. I'm not sure where it's looking. But, there might be someplace else, some other way on my computer to log in. I actually have an idea about that.
Okay.
I would have to sign out and sign back in, but how when you log in, like say I browsed to Azure or I browsed to a Microsoft property and I log in with one of my accounts and it remembers who I am, right? So if I was logged into my computer as one of the Office 365 identities, maybe that's a problem. Maybe if I don't know. I know enough to be dangerous, that's all. I'll let you just keep going.
It's fine. So as we said, the next step would be to move to SQL Server, right? So Azure SQL Server to do the whole migration. So The first thing that we need to do that is to create a managed account that will be very specific to that. Now, if you spin up an Azure web app, let me just bring this here again, and I already have an Azure web app spun up. I run this up. If we were to spin this up, a brand new web app that has nothing, no code, then one of the things that you get with the deployments is a thing called identity. So this is a managed identity that the web app is running under. It has this ability to use this account for certain things. And that managed identity, which is assigned to this resource, can also be configured to go and speak to Key Vault. So Key Vault or SQL, right? So
Right.
I have this object over here that is my managed identity. And if I were to open, say, Cloud Shell, it's thinking
I
about it.
still think that's the coolest.
It is, isn't it? You have your
Yeah.
own cell. You don't have to. It's already signed into my account, so I don't have to go and worry about uh, signing in or doing whatever. And then if I say, show me what this account is, you'll see that it is a service principal account. The type down here is service principal managed identity, and it has certain properties. Has secrets and keys that I don't manage and I don't rotate. It's all auto-rotated. And it has a display name. So a display name is needs to be added to SQL. Now, if I were to access SQL Server with that identity, it wouldn't let me sign in because that managed identity needs to be added to my SQL Server to have permissions to my database. And in fact, since it's only doing reads, it's not doing any inserts, we can even assign it a specific data role. So the command to do this, and I'm not going to do it because I have already done it, but you need to go into your, do I have Data Studio here? Let me see, I think I have Data Studio. No, this one.
So the app needs access to the Key Vault, and SQL Server will need access to the Key Vault also. That's what you're
Well,
dealing with.
yeah, we need both. So first we need to add it to Key Vault, which is absolutely right. Thanks for correcting me there, because we need to pull the permissions from Key Vault. So if I were to go into my Key Vault, let's hide that down here, and we'll look into my access policies. I think it's at the very top, or it should be at the very top. See that account, that application down here? It says it's an application. It's not a user. It's a managed identity that has the two permissions that we said, the ability to list and get keys. Now I've updated my secrets, so my secrets now here have,
Hey, I know that.
yes, now these secrets have the SQL connection value here. I think I can show the secret value. See, it doesn't hold my local DB anymore, it holds my SQL Server secrets, but it does not have a username and a password. So even though it's stored in Key Vault, which adds another layer of security, I've removed the username and password. So how is my managed identity able to access my SQL account or my SQL database? If we go to my SQL database, sorry, let me just, I'm here, let me just open Data Studio. It might have it in memory, can't remember. Or, you know, it might not log in because it's not liking it. No, I don't want a tour. Yes. And if I try to sign in now, it won't let me sign in. No. I'm telling you. I think the demo gods today, or the stream gods, are there stream gods? Are not on our side today, because they locked everything down for us. You might say, this machine is not authorized to access stuff. No, thanks. Yeah, okay, thank you very much. But let's say, can I close this one? Okay, cancel. Where's my Data Studio? Here. Can I do a new file or something without having to connect? Yeah, don't connect. Cancel. File. Doesn't let me. Okay, I want to add. I want to add a new file just to show you what the command would look like. Open file. How do I new? Oh, there you go. New query. Okay. So the query, I will have to sign in or tune into my or connect to my database. And the first thing I will have to do is create user. And nobody can see that because it's super tiny. So the first thing that we have to do is create user identity name. So that identity name needs to be our identity name from our, I remember how we saw that in home. So app, I'm going to identity. Oh, I had it here. That's the one. In there, episodes. So I will need to add that into my SQL Server via Data Studio. So that'll be it. And that would give access, but I also want to restrict the permissions of that identity. So we need to alter the role in the database. So these are all database commands against our account. And we say here, I want to only give it a data reader permissions to my data. I mean, it can be, it can be a data writer, it can be an admin if you want to, but the idea is to lock down the permissions. So having run that against my database, now if I were to run my app, it will allow me to sign in to SQL Server and to Key Vault, pull the connection string and use that connection string to connect to SQL without having any secrets. And if I were to...
Cool. And yeah, so it's just the app is just another user.
The app is another user, yeah. The
And
identity assigned to that app is another user. So.
And as I moved mine into my Azure account, I wonder if it still wouldn't work.
Why not? Yeah, it wouldn't work because
my Azure account is still tied to a live
correct
ID. That is, I got to figure out how to change that. Like my whole subscription, everything is tied to that identity. Really weird.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking to see if I can change that.
So I've signed in with again, I'm still using the ASP.NET identity. We haven't moved to Microsoft Identity Web, so we're not using Azure AD to sign in. This is a local account, but the application is running under the context of that managed identity that we already have as part of the Azure Web App.
Right.
Which is this identity over here, again, for people that are following around. Okay, so this identity now, with the right permissions to SQL, means that when I go to episodes, it will read that information from my SQL server, which is running on Azure, not the local one. And I mean, it's unfortunate that I couldn't show you everything. So there's one step that we need to do in the application to wire it up. And I think this is where we had a debate this morning, whether the old way of doing interceptors and the new way of the SQL client that supports Azure Identity is the right way to go. So up until this morning, at least when we were looking at that, in order to be able to authenticate and grab a token to go and speak to SQL Server with a managed identity, you had to create an interceptor. So
and that's an entity framework, right? This is where entity framework comes in, right?
Correct.
Entity framework interceptors.
Yes.
You can intercept in commands and you can intercept things that entity framework is about to send to SQL Server and glean information from there or even modify things.
Correct.
You can it will gives you access to the connection string. It gives you access to the actual command. In other words, the SQL that's being sent up. You can actually modify the SQL if you wanted to do things like maybe you have soft deletes, right? So you can always say, you can append stuff to the SQL. So that's the piece that you're taking advantage of.
Correct.
Here.
Yes.
Is it with a connection or with actual SQL?
It's the interceptor for the connection. So when it tries to open the connection.
So you can see with the parameters that come in.
Yes.
So there's the connection
Yep.
and some different metadata about that.
Correct. So what we're doing here is check out the token credential. This is the one that uses, remember how we talked about Azure Identity that has different ways for acquiring a token?
Yes.
In this instance, the default is overloaded. It will do everything, but it's not as efficient. So here I was more prescriptive. I said, rather than trying everything, try with the managed identity first. And if you can log in, which is only available on Azure, then if you can log in, because I'm running locally, just go and use my Visual Studio credential. Now this could have been something like, there you have lots of options here. You can have, for example, you can have Visual Studio Code credentials. You could have Azure CLI credentials.
Okay, so they're right, cool.
Remember the default one that we saw before? I know it's tiny and people can't probably see it.
So it will find them on your machine.
It will find them, yeah. So over here, I want to be super prescriptive.
And once you've deployed it, right? So as you're running this locally, first it's going to go manage identity credential, and if you haven't set that up, then it's going to go, well, I don't even know what that is,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Then it'll go, okay, what's the next one?
Correct.
Oh, Visual Studio credential. Okay, so I'm going to use that. Whereas once you've deployed it, that's why managed identity is first,
yes.
right?
Yes.
It's the first thing it's going to look for.
Yep.
And it's going to go, oh yeah, I got that.
There you have it. And then down here, what we're doing is we're using that.
Oh,
sorry.
let's back up a little bit.
Okay.
Somebody's asking, I just got a little lost here. Why do you need the interceptor? That's so we can push the token. Well, maybe you should
the SQL
explain
connection.
It, 'cause that's the part, but that's where you're going to affect the security for the database.
Correct. So the meat is down here, line 55, where we say SQL connection dot access token, and then we pass the token that we acquired from our our default or custom token credential. Because up until this point,
instead of using a user's login and password.
Yeah. And
does that make sense, Daryl?
I hope it makes sense.
I'm actually glad you asked.
Yeah, so if we look at the app settings, right here, there's the SQL database that we're pointing to. I mean, we're not using this one because the one that is running on Azure Web Apps is using the one from Key Vault. But the value that we have in Key Vault is exactly this one, where it has the connection URI or TCP, the catalog name or the database name, but it does not have any security information to sign in. Somehow we need to authenticate and pass a token back to the connection so the connection can authenticate against SQL. So now that we set up the account inside SQL Server, as you saw with the previous two commands that I've shown, in the code, we need to use an interceptor. And I say that as of this morning, I was not aware that the SQL client now supports the Azure Identity out of the box and you don't have to use an interceptor. So this is probably the way that you could do it up until very recently. And I'm going to put a blog post together to show you how to use SQL client. So instead of doing all these dance, I suspect that in your DB context, and correct me if I'm wrong here, you can override what you pass in the options as a connection string. Is that correct, Julie? Like, is this where you would do it? Get a SQL client and pass the connection?
So this is a totally new thing for me that I've never done before. But so you wouldn't actually do it here. You would do it in Startup.
Okay.
Can you open up the startup file?
Yes, I have.
Okay. So here, see, used on line 32, line 33.
Aha.
So that's where you're setting up the DB context and the DB context options.
Right.
So that one, by the way, the first one you're looking at right now, that's for
the sign-in, sign-up.
logins and registry, as opposed to
which is down
for
here.
the other. Where's the other one?
It's line 47, and this is where we also added the interceptor.
Oh, there we go. Okay, so that's the one for the actual database of the shows.
Yes. And let me just open the link.
Do you have the link?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing now. So SQL
that
client.
blog post? I mean the docs.
So there was integrate with Azure Identity. I think that's not the right one. So there was an open request to do that, and then there's Identity of Core. I think no.
Here, I've got the link. I will put it in
There was
chat.
a link. Yes, you're right. There was a link somewhere.
Yeah, I've got it. I'll put it in our
Our private one.
chat, the OBS chat.
Yeah,
Just
let me
because
see.
I wasn't logged into Twitch, so I can't even put anything in Twitch.
That's fine.
So you can share
So
that.
here, these were all the issues that people raised before, like there should be better support here. And as of November, I think now you can use it to sign in. So in the code, like, it supports all these different scenarios, including service principals and managed identity down here. And in the code, you can see that you get a connection string, which we'll be pulling from, say, Key Vault. Oh, that's the old way. Okay, let me see. Managed identity should be down here. And there you have it. So the code for that is connection string. You get the connection string without any usernames and passwords. Authentication, Active Directory, managed identity. So there's a new category there, which is awesome. And then I suspect that you will be passing just that into the connection string in the code here. Is that it?
You know what? I just signed into Twitch and it's making me watch an ad, so I can't see what you're doing now.
Maybe I should share my screen on here. If you go into OBS Ninja, you should be able to see my screen in real time.
See my screen. Oh, see your screen. Okay. Okay, so
So we have. Let me.
ask me a question again. Now I see your screen.
I know. Let me open the. So here it says, to using Microsoft SQL Client. Now you have SQL support, Azure SQL Database, and Azure SQL Managed Instances.
Right. So Microsoft Data.SQL Client
Yeah.
is totally new. It used to be Microsoft something else SQL Client.
Okay.
But the data namespace is new.
And now it says the code is connection string blah, right? And then you create a SQL connection with that connection string and check that the connection string for authentication using Azure Active Directory managed identity, which I think it's very new, right? For the authentication.
Yes, that's not something I've never done anything with Active Directory before. So, yep, that's cool.
And then it says here, the following example demonstrates Azure Active Directory managed instance authentication. Oh, that's the system assigned one, the one that our app has right now. But if you assign a specific one, like a user managed identity, then you need to define which identity you want to use. That's the difference between the two. So here you have the database. You say, I want to use a managed identity for authentication. And then you point to the server and it works. So I suspect that you just need to pass a new SQL connection string like that into the code, right?
That's cool.
So
And then you don't have to use the interceptor.
You don't have to use the interceptor anymore, which is great. And I'll test both. I mean, after I know it's 10 o'clock.
Daryl's asking, actually, really, yeah. Daryl was asking, and then he just had his aha moment of like, why are we even doing this? Right? Like, why use AAD? Why use Active Directory instead of just using a username and password? And and he just said, I think I get the why. But, the goal here is, instead of managing your own usernames and passwords, if that stuff is, if you were on your own server, your own Windows server, and setting up authentication for SQL Server, you would say, here's all these people in Active Directory.
Yes.
Okay, these people are allowed this access.
Yep.
These people, you set all of that permission up there.
Yes.
And so you don't have to set up individual username and password accounts for every single one of your users directly in SQL Server. You just say, hey, SQL Server, anything you need to know about users, you can find it here in Active Directory. And so what we're doing here is to Azure Active Directory instead of, I actually used to have to manage that on Windows Server for one of my clients a million years ago. I haven't done it in a really long time because they have a professional there now who knows how to do that. But that's exactly what we're doing, right? Instead of saying, everybody's got to have their own username and password, and the application, right? Because it's two different things, right? is the application allowed to talk? The application itself, is it allowed to even talk to SQL Server? So that's the bit about tying the application's identity and giving it permission to SQL Server.
Yeah.
But once you said, okay, the application's allowed to talk to SQL Server, but then is this user who just logged in, are they allowed to use this? Are they allowed in my system?
Yes, and I'm pretty sure that you've seen some horrible things as you speak to companies and in your consultancy capacity. But when I was in the field and I was working for different companies as a consultant as well, there were so many bad practices around managing SQL access or in general data access. Like I worked for a company that had SA and no password for accessing all the SQL servers, production and development environment. I worked for environments where every developer had access to the production data and were able to point their SQL management studio at any point at whim and connect. And doing that can actually compromise a lot of your security in the organization. The way that we've done it right now, it means that me as a developer, Julie as a developer can come into the company, they're added to the Azure Active Directory, they point their Visual Studio solution to that Key Vault, and they don't even know what the connection to their live database is going to be. Because Key Vault manages everything. My database, my account does not have any access to these things. And you can have a Key Vault for development, you can have a Key Vault for QA and a Key Vault for production, all managed by Azure Active Directory. Because it's not just managing access while you're in the company, but also removing access when people move from a company. And I've been in horrible situations where people that left the company had admin permissions to live web apps 2 years after they had left the company because nobody rolled the secrets and they couldn't remove them because it was all hard-coded. There are many horror stories out there about how people mismanage that. So what we've shown to you today is taking the onus from the IT team and removing the attack vector to your developers by removing all the secrets and all the connection strings from your applications. And we'll put out a blog post. The source code is already available on GitHub. I have the starting point with Julie's starting normal app all the way to the finished product. And I will do one step further. I will go with the SQL client that we just heard about to add that another layer of less code and more configuration.
I've got to write an article for Code Magazine. I'm thinking maybe I should write about this too. But
we would love to work together.
I have to get my Azure portal sorted out.
Yes, let's work on that offline.
That was a really interesting problem that really kind of got in the way of the real story here today.
Yep. But we managed to deliver something. We came prepared as we could be. So hopefully people saw the value
and
there.
And that's what Twitch is all about, right?
That's what Twitch is all about. Discovering pitfalls.
Making it real.
Well, I think that takes us to the end of the stream. Julie, thank you so much for coming today. It was fun having you.
Thanks. It was really interesting.
We'll learn together.
And I loved seeing the graph stuff at the beginning too. That was really cool.
It is. We'll have everything on YouTube as well. So there you go. And I think now it's time to go and raid some of our friends. So let's see who is good to raid. We got Instaflop. Mr. Fritz is coding. So we go to Fritz and we have Tell Codes. This is a female coder, a friend of ours as well. I'll let you decide, Julie. What do you think? Should we go to Child or should we go to Mr. Fritz?
Oh, I don't see Fritz. Well, we're on my list at least, maybe on yours. But first, Daryl has another question.
Oh, we have one more question.
His question is, do we have time for a question?
We do have time for a question. Go for it.
Type away, Daryl.
Shoot.
Or if you want, there we go.
I have a B2C app.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's good. I like that you just type a little and hit enter and type a little more. I hate when you're sitting there and somebody's typing and you see little dots going and you're like, hit enter already.
So Daryl needs to know two things.
Thing one.
Ting, ting, ting. The suspense is killing me now.
Come on, hit the enter key.
I have a structure where users can add team members. Oh, okay. I think that's gonna take a while, and because we need to bounce off Microsoft Developer and we need to wrap this up. Daryl, can you connect with us on? Can you connect with us on Discord? We have a Discord channel where we answer community questions, so we can definitely help you there. I hope that makes sense. And apologies that we don't have enough time.
Type the URL or
Yes, I can type the
Discord
URL.
in there for him.
ak.ms. Can people not see it at the very top of the stream? Am I missing that information? Oh, interesting. I don't have it here. Okay, I see. ak.ms 45. So Discord join there. So that's the link. Please join us there. For anyone who's watching, feel free to join us on Discord. This is where we answer community questions, especially if we can squeeze them into the stream. And we have a very active community where everyone can help. So again, I want to thank Julie, and I'm going to put a decision on her. So who do you want us to raid for this time?
Oh,
So
how about, who are options?
we have a child coach. She's a female coder, building stuff with various technologies, and we have Fritz and we have InstaFluff. Lots of friends.
I think we have to go see Jeff.
Jeff.
Fritz.
Okay, let's go to our friend Jeff.
Okay, I don't even know what this rating thing's about.
Well, it means that
guys
everyone that
and
is watching
gals,
us right
thanks.
now goes to Jeff, and we provide continuity there. Well, thanks everyone. Thank you, Julie. Bye. I've got 2 more seconds, and we should be done.
What is rating anyway?
Rating is going to somebody else's channel.
Like just as a user, as a watcher?
Yes, although mine doesn't seem to work for now. I don't know why.
Oh, we're taking everybody along with us.
Yeah, but it says I cannot raid people now for some weird reason.
No,
So,
because you're not. You're.
I'm a
identity
lowly
isn't
I'm a
correct.
lowly user, not a super user like JP. There you go.
Oh well.
And